Now that we've discussed the learning objectives for our presentation, we'll move on to providing you with some strategies to use in the classroom that will support a learner with ASD. These strategies include visual supports, technology, and how to use it appropriately, visual cues, and sensory accommodations. Visual supports. When you hear visual supports, what comes to mind? Pictures, yeah, absolutely. Images of completing an action such as cleaning up or keeping our hands to ourselves. What else? Labels, yeah, absolutely. Labels can contain images and words and can support the learner in more than one way. We can encourage letter recognition and reading when we use labels, with images and words, for example. Labels can be used to support a learner anywhere inside the classroom and in other environments. So, what are visual supports? Visual supports are images or other visual items that are used by and with individuals who struggle with language and communication skills. These include photographs, words, drawings, objects, or a combination of all. Individuals with ASD often struggle with communication and expressive language and therefore use visual supports to communicate with others. Additionally, individuals with ASD find receptive language and communication challenging. Therefore, individuals in their life, such as parents, family members, students, and teachers, such as yourselves, use visual supports to communicate. Visual supports are quite easy to use and can be used by anyone, at any age, and even by those who do not have ASD. Some examples of visual supports that we will discuss during this training session are first then boards, visual schedules, and using visual supports to set visual parameters and expectations. So we've discussed what visual supports are, but why are they so important? Why do we need to use visual supports to help individuals with ASD in a classroom? To make transitions smoother, absolutely, this is a great point. Individuals with ASD tend to be quite rigid in their routines and struggle with change. We can use visual supports in the form of a visual schedule or first then board or a combination of both to help a learner with predicting changes in routine and foreseeing what comes next in their day. This can help reduce anxiety and potential disruptive behaviors, which we will discuss further. Visual supports help support social interactions, language use, and in reducing challenging behaviors. Individuals with ASD tend to struggle with social cues and social expectations. This includes, but is not limited to, initiating conversations, responding to conversations, which is also referred to as back and forth conversation skills. This comes naturally to neurotypical individuals. However, we can teach individuals with ASD how to initiate a conversation and how to appropriately respond in conversations by using visual supports. For example, in a scenario where the learner is engaged in cooperative play with another child, we can use flashcards, as seen on this slide, with images indicating turn taking. These visual supports assist in teaching appropriate social skills in a given situation. As we mentioned previously, visual supports are used by both the individual with ASD and other individuals in their life. It can be quite frustrating for both parties when lost in communication. Think about it. Imagine you really needed to go to the bathroom and needed help doing so, but you couldn't verbally tell anyone. How would you tell someone? By using visual supports, learners with ASD can physically show what they want or need. In this situation, the learner can take the image representing toilet and show it to a teacher. The teacher now understands what the learner needs and can support them. These images can also be paired with verbal communication. For this example, the learner can be taught that when they flash their card indicating they need to use the toilet, they can begin saying the sound t or toilet, depending on the verbal communication skills. This ultimately supports communication and language use. With this visual support, both the learner and the teacher are engaging in positive communication skills, and feelings of frustration due to the lack of communication are minimized. Now, this learner is able to communicate their wants and needs using visual supports. What about daily routines? What about change in their routine? As we know, individuals with ASD struggle with transitions and changes in routine. Imagine you're sitting at your desk, working away as we do, and all of a sudden the fire alarm goes off. You feel a sense of fear. Everyone is moving around you so quickly to get out of the building, and the alarm is ringing loudly in your ears. Individuals with ASD are hypersensitive in their senses, and that feeling you feel is amplified for them. By using visual support such as visual schedules, along with other support such as headphones, we can help the learner with being prepared for a fire drill. During the fire drill, images such as the ones displayed on the slide can help the learner with following fire drill protocols. This reduces their anxiousness during this change in routine and minimizes undesired behaviors. By supporting the learner in predicting transitions and changes in routine and giving them these resources to support positive communication skills, you are encouraging positive relationships between yourself and the learner and between peers. I've given you some examples of images that can be used in specific situations to help support a learner with ASD. Now, I will briefly show you on the next slide some ways to lay out these images so that the learner can use them independently. On the left of the slide is an example of a first-then board. These are typically used to pair undesired tasks first with desired tasks then. This encourages the learner to complete a task that they have been instructed to do and may not want to complete by showing them that if they complete that task, then they can do a preferred task. In this example, the learner is instructed to first wash their hands and then they can get something to eat. This resource can also be helpful with tasks that have several steps by breaking it down into smaller visual steps. On the right of the slide is an example of a visual schedule. This helps the learner with seeing what their day entails and shows them any new activities they may have that day. The visual schedule can also be used in combination with a first-then board to help break down tasks even further. Visual schedules can also be broken down into small chunks of time, such as morning and afternoon. With both the first-then board and the visual schedule, the learner can be taught how to use these supports and then begin using them independently. While they are learning to use these supports, be sure to praise them each time they use it and reinforce them when engaging in positive behaviors. For example, each time the learner uses the first-then board for washing their hands and then having a snack, the learner should be reinforced with a simple high five, thumbs up, or a way to go. At the bottom of the slide, you can see a stop sign. This visual support is typically used to set boundaries in a classroom or to assist with transitions. A stop sign can be used to indicate a location or activity that is not available. It can also be used when engaging in transitions to remind a learner to stop when the line stops. Remember, a learner may not know how to use visual supports, so they are going to need help learning how to use them. So in order for the learner to be successful, be patient, provide lots of praise when the learner is successful in using visual supports, stay positive, and always follow through with what is visually presented to a learner. Next, we will discuss appropriate use of technology in the classroom.